So you're in a situation like this where you just started the game and you're just about to die, but you don't want to die. And with a traditional game like this for the Super Nintendo, if you die, you lose one of your continues. You lose a life. And we don't want to do that. We want to try to save a life, as well as we want to reload where we last left off. We don't want to have to start from some checkpoint or far away. Now, sure, there's time for that. But in this video, I'm going to show you one of the benefits of emulation, which is that you can save your state. So right there, I just press select and my right bumper on my controller, which is the default save state controls, and watch what happens. If you die, typically from the regular console, I now have to start back. I actually don't have to start very far, but I have one less life. And but by pressing select and the left bumper, I can reload my state there where I only had one health and resume where I went to. Now, this is a feature that's been released now on the NES Classic and the SNES Classic, but it's always been a thing that you could do with emulation, and the Raspberry Pi being one of the better emulation machines. In this video, I'm going to show you how to save your state, but we're also going to show you how to transfer your save states, because I was recently in a situation where I had my 256 gigabyte SD card. I only have one of them, and they're like $100, and I got a bunch of other images here as well. And I needed that card, but I also had some Super Mario save states, some Plock save states, some Sonic 2 save states that I wanted to keep just for future reference. So rather than backing up the entire image, I'm going to show you how you can just save those save states and transfer them onto any other image you want. So whether you want to use an SD card and save them for later, you want to transfer them to another image, or maybe you want to transfer them to a portable Retropie system. So you want to have them on the go because you played them at home and you want to move it on a different SD card. Whatever the case may be, in this video, we're going to cover it. Okay, first things first, on these controllers, I'm in a live game right now, moving around. And on a typical controller, as long as your special key is select, to save a state is just going to be select and right bumper. Select and the right bumper, so select start. You're going to see in the corner of my screen here on the lower left, it just saved the state 100%. So you can see I can move around, and I can go ahead and load that state again. So I'm going to hit select, and then this time the left bumper. You can see in the left-hand corner we got a confirmation that I've loaded my state. Fairly simple. Save, load, save, load, save, load. Now what if you accidentally save your state? So I'm going to save it up here. I saved it over my previous one, so I saved over it. I'm like, shoot, I didn't want to save it. Or maybe I run into this and I save it right as I'm dying on accident because I went to load, but I hit save. Like I just messed up. I just saved over what I've been saving this whole time. Well, if you hit select and X on your controller, select and X, whatever you bound X to, you can undo a save state. So it's going to go, you should start up here, go all the way down to undo save state. Hit A, I've undone it, and now watch happens when I reload. Remember, if this undid it, I should not be dead by the time I load it. So let's go ahead and load that same state. And look, it undid the save state that I did when I jumped onto this yellow danger, and it just brought it back to the one before that. So if you accidentally save your state instead of loading it, you can actually undo it within RetroArch. So that's how cool save state is. There's one last feature I think you should know about, which is you can change the save states. If you hit select and either left or right, you can change the slot. And as you see, I'm changing the slots down there. So a good example of this would be like if I was playing Super Mario World, I could save a slot for every single level. So on level 1, I'll save it. For level 2, I'll change my state to level 8 and I'll change it. For level 9, I'll change it. Or I can have it in multiple parts of a stage. And that's really cool because you can always go back to a certain part. But and depending on the game, this is saving a lot of data. So you could eventually use up all your data. But with a Super Nintendo game or a Nintendo game, it should be fine. It's going to be maybe some larger games when it gets a little bit more difficult. So that's how you save a state. You can change the different states to different loadings. You can undo a save state, and you can save and load all you want. Think of a save state as in somebody takes a freeze frame of the entire screen, and wherever you left it, it's still going to be there. You know, where back in the day when you had a Super Nintendo, you literally just had to leave your Super Nintendo on, right? Or you had to go find a way to save it. You know, so like in Super Mario World, you had to beat like one of the bosses. which is cool. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's really cool that you were forced to play the game before you find a save state. I'm not saying emulation is better than the original. It's cool to have an option like this, especially if you're a casual gamer. It's always cool to have options. Well, see, I just died, so I can just go ahead and load my state, and then I'm back here. Some people might call it cheating, whatever. You guys, this isn't a a what is better than the other. It's a how cool is this? So now comes the question that, let's just say I'm saving all these states. I just saved like 10 states, right? And so I quit. And let's just say that right now I have an SD card in my Raspberry Pi. And it has this particular image on it with this particular Super Nintendo games on it. This right here is a 32 gigabyte, by the way. This is just a little custom image that I'm working with. And I've saved some states on it, Jurassic Park. So now, in order to get your save states, there's a couple ways you could do this, but the easiest way is just to connect your Raspberry Pi to your Ethernet, either through the wired connection, or the Raspberry Pi 3 comes with a Wi-Fi built in. So really easy to just join your Wi-Fi. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave my Raspberry Pi on in this instance, but we're going to jump over to my computer now. Okay, so here we are on my computer. I've moved sides now. And on the left side here, I'm just going to go to Network on my computer, and then you're going to see I have a Retropie. And this is the image we were just on, the one we were playing Jurassic Park on. And if we go into the ROMs folder here, we go down to SNES, or whatever system this is for. It'll work for the majority of systems. When you get into like PlayStation and Nintendo 64, they're no longer on RetroArch, so the save states might be a little bit different, but it's a similar process. You're going to go into SNES or Sega, whatever you're using. Nintendo will work. And go into SNES if you can find it. There we go. And you can notice that if I go down to J here, these are all my ROMs. These are all the games. If you go into Jurassic Park, it has these extra little files here, .state files. Now, as a rule of thumb, I like to take the ROM too. So I like to take the ROM as well as the save states. The reason I like to take the ROM, copy the ROM over, is because if you are using another image that's using a different ROM, it might not work. It should work, but there's a chance it might not. So better safe than sorry, especially with such a small game. I mean, this game itself, oh, I didn't even get the game. The game is there. The game itself is 1 megabyte. So we're going to go ahead and Control C, and we're just going to put them on a folder on my computer for the time being. Okay? So now I've officially backed them up. They're now backed up. They're in 2 places. So if this SD card gets corrupted or I lose it, we're all good. We have a backup of it on my computer. But what we want to do is we want to be able to put it on a different image or play it on, because I can't use these files right now on my computer unless I install an emulator and do all this stuff. The idea here is moving it from one image to the next. So next thing we have to do is we're going to turn off our Raspberry Pi, and we're going to put in our new image, and we're going to access that new image the same way. And basically what we're going to do is we're just going to go from this side into the new Pi on the left. So in order to do that, we have to turn off the Pi here, put in our new SD card into the Pi, boot it up, and then go ahead and network back into the Pi. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So here we are, we're booted up in a new image, the image I want to transfer my save states to. So now we got to go back to the computer because I have this hooked up and it's on the network now, and so I should be able to see it on my computer. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just hit refresh really quick, and there we are at ROMs. And here we are, we're in the image, same thing, SNES. All right, and here you can see under Jurassic Park, Jurassic Park, there's no save states. So, and you can see that this one does not say USA on it, which this is where you're going to run into some issues, is that if I was to transfer over this ROM, I either need to change the names of the save states and delete the USA and have these save states match the ROM and hope that all works, or what you would do is delete this ROM, and then just add all these in. And that should work as well. The only problem now is you also need to rename your media file. So all the way at the top here, under box art and wheel art, you actually need to go in here. Okay, so this Jurassic Park needs to be renamed to the USA if you want to see the box art, for example. So that's the problem with some of these ROM sets is some people put USA in them, and just the file names need to match. The save state needs to match the box art, needs to match the ROM, right? It all needs to be in equilibrium. And potentially there's more issues like this, more issues, especially if you have a track mode or something like that. If you're building your own images though, or you're using images from a similar creator, a lot of the time it's just gonna transfer over very smoothly. This is just a case that they are misnamed. There are a few extra steps. So now I think it's time to test this out. So we're gonna go back to the Pi. Now we're gonna do a quick reboot before these effects will take change. All right, now it's testing time. So let's head down to Super Nintendo. Let's go ahead and search J. Jurassic Park. As it says USA, it's a little off from the other ROMs, but we could rename that if we want. And it's loading up. This image has bezels on it, so you're going to see a little bit of bezeling on each side, but you'll still be able to kind of see the yellow font in the lower left, as you just saw there. So let's go ahead and try to load a state. Just Control L, and look at that. We're back here. Look at that. We're back. Load a state. I can save it right here. I can reload it. Load it. Oh boy. Oh boy. Got him. Got him. And then I had another one, if you guys remember, just to show you, I was doing a live stream a really long time ago with Plock. And I got really stuck at a certain position in this game. But I still wanted to save my progress because I was kind of far in this game. I think I'm about halfway done, maybe a little bit more. So let's just go ahead and move our slots here. Slot 10, load it. There you go. So my Plock save states worked. My wife is actually beating this right now. It's one of the reasons why I had to back this up, because I felt really bad that I was going to erase all of her save states. And she's currently trying to beat Super Mario World, as she grew up with the Nintendo version. I told her to check out this one. And so let's go ahead and once this boots up, we're going to go. I got to change my save state slot to, like, I think she's on like slot 6 or slot 5. There you go. And here she is. And then you go to slot 4, load. She was on this level for a little bit. Oh, this part is hard. You have to get the P without getting wrecked by this guy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Alright, let's see if we can do this. Got him. Oh! Almost didn't get it. Okay. Sorry. You start playing the game, you get really into it. That is something you got to be careful about in Mario, is you have to press select, which makes you drop your mushroom. So what I might recommend is hitting start, and then saving your state, and then unstarting it. That's actually a more pro way to do it in certain games. So anyways, that's how you do it. Fairly simple. I hope you learned a little bit. Let me know if you guys got any questions. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.